Hi creative friends, this is Soraya and thank you so much for being here. So this is part 2 of my how to create or build a face. When I first started, I thought I was going to paint the face. Other than my Stabilo that I initially used, I thought I was just going to add acrylic paints and inks, but now I want to leave it more open-ended and allow myself the freedom to use any other kind of art supplies in my mixed media stash. So just to reiterate what I did, I used a blue Stabilo pencil and I drew out the face, and then I added my burnt sienna in Liquitex ink, and I added a couple of other colors. I added this pink and I also added this yellow, and they're both by Liquitex and they are acrylic inks. So like I mentioned in my first video, depending on the color of person or face that you are drawing, painting, creating, then you're going to have to experiment with the colors that work best for you. And what I recommend you do is just try like so many different unexpected combinations. A lot of times the shadows in faces, they tend to be cool, so you can use colors like violet or green or any kind of blue, even grays, and that tends to cool things down and push it back. And that is regardless of what color of skin you are painting or drawing or creating. So I would just experiment and see what you like, what you don't like, and go from there. Now I put some paints on my paper plate palette over here, and it's not a lot of paint and I may not use all of it, but I just wanted to have some warms and then a couple of cools. So the first thing I am going to do is I am going to add some paints on here because, you know, thus far I have only added my Stabilo and acrylic inks. I have not added any paints to the mix here. So I am going to just go in with my burnt sienna and my cashew chalk paint. I'm gonna mix it up and kind of come up with a skin tone color. And that is blue in acrylic paint, and I just want to like push some of the parts of the face back while I'm having some parts of the face come forward. So what I am going to do here is work really fast, and I am using my fingers a lot here. So I'm trying not to be heavy-handed, as I do tend to be, especially with my hot colors. I'm trying to go like very light, but as you can see, I do tend to lean towards the heavy-handed approach here. So now I'm gonna just put in some color into the lips over here. And the cheeks. And now I'm going to bring in some yellow ochre, and I'm going to mix that yellow ochre with my cashew chalk paint, but you can use a titanium white, or, you know, depending on the skin color you are painting, you're going to have to figure out what your light colors are going to be, what your darker colors are going to be, your shadowy colors. And there are tons of great books out there that, you know, can help you out with that. But what I would recommend is that you just, you know, experiment, because, you know, books are going to guide you in the right direction, but ultimately you're going to have to make the choices about what you like, what you want, etc. So as you can see, I'm just like building up the face here. And I tend to think of this part as like a jigsaw puzzle, kind of. As you can see, like things are very, you know, like almost disjointed, I guess. And that's totally fine, because you know, some parts of the face, I want them to come forward and I want some parts to go back. And so right now I'm just kind of like playing around with that part. So as you can see, things are kind of taking shape a little bit here. And what I am going to do is just bring in some of that red into different parts of the face. And you know, skin color is not a simple thing. Like, even say for instance, my skin color, it might seem like, okay, this is just, you know, a brown color, but it's not. There are so many different factors that are going to affect when you're painting your skin color. And of course, this is not like a super realistic painting or, you know, depiction of a face. Even so, there are things that are going to affect the skin color, like an undertone and the lighting. Different lights are going to totally change the way my skin color look. And, you know, if I was gonna paint a brown, I usually go for blues that are in the shadowy parts. So I go for an ultramarine blue. Sometimes I can even go for a cerulean or a cobalt blue, depending. But, you know, there is an undertone to skin color, to all skin colors. And it's important when you're painting to kind of figure out what your undertones are going to be. So I hope I'm making sense. And if you have any questions or comments or concerns, then, you know, please leave them in the comment section. But as you can see, I am building up my face over here. And so now I'm going to work on the hair a little bit. And again, it depends on what color hair you're going to create. I'm going for a darker colored hair, and so I want to use my black very sparingly. I don't want it to be flat at all. So I just put a little bit of my black, and I'm using my ink color in my Waverly chalk paint, but you can use a Payne's Gray if you have a Payne's Gray, or, you know, any kind of like color, like a darker color, because even if you're painting lighter colored hair, you're still going to need, you know, your darker parts of that hair. And like I said in my first video, what I would recommend that you do is to look at paintings that appeal to you, like portrait paintings, and then really zone in on different parts of the painting and almost look at it in an abstract way. So don't look at hair as hair. Just get out your viewfinder and, you know, isolate a part and just look at it like, wow, look at all the different colors that are in that small part of the hair. But, you know, when you're looking at the hair, you're reading it as, say, you know, blonde hair or black hair or brown hair. But when you really isolate parts of the painting, whether it's the face or the hair, you are going to see that, you know, there are so many different colors that make up that color. It's not just like a one flat color field. So that's a good thing to do when you're learning about, you know, the colors that you like and, you know, what appeals to you. So now what I'm going to do is, I'm still building up on the face here. And so things do look like a jigsaw puzzle. They really do. And that is totally fine. So I'm going to drop some of that ink in here. And I'm going to use a lot of water, and I'm going to drag some of this into the hair because, like I said, I don't want the hair to be flat. Like, even though it is dark hair, I want it to be lively and colorful. Like, I don't want a flat field of color. So now what I would do is I would allow this to completely dry once again. And I have a face here that is exactly where I left off over here, as you can see. So this is wet, and this is exactly the same place that I left it off, and so this is dry. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to work on the eyes over here, and I am going to use my black paint, and I'm going to use a very light-handed approach. Like, I don't want this to be a flat color field. I just want a suggestion here. So, and the eyebrows as well. I'm going to work on the eyebrows here. And bring some of that black into the hair because, like I said, I don't want a flat color field. And just bring some color into the ears over here. And all I'm doing really is I'm just building up my layers. You know, that's all I'm doing. And I wouldn't like think, you know, this has to be perfect, etc. Like, I'm going for a more painterly kind of looser approach. I'm not going for a tight, controlled, you know, hyper realistic look. So I'm just gonna work on the dress a little bit here. And now I'm gonna build up the lips a little bit. And there are many layers that go into creating skin tones and facial features and lips and hair, etc. You know, it's just the layering. And I'm gonna even drag some of that into here. And I'm gonna pull some of the red from the dress into different parts of the face here. And just refine the facial features a bit. And a tip that I have used for a long time is when I am painting the lips and the cheeks and etc., is I tend to think of it like I'm using makeup on my own face. And that just guides me as to, you know, how to paint the facial features a bit better, if that makes any sense. So if you are, you know, a lady and you've been wearing makeup even occasionally, or, you know, since you were 18 or 15 or whatever, then, you know, like how to kind of, you know, where to apply your blush and your highlighter and your contour and, you know, your lips, etc., your lip liner, blah, blah, blah. So I kind of use that as a guide, and it just helps me. Now, if you're a male and you haven't been wearing makeup, then obviously, you know, this wouldn't be very helpful. But that's what I do anyways, as I just kind of tend to look at it as if I'm painting my actual face with makeup. And then that helps me figure out where things are going to go a bit, like the colors, etc. And I'm just kind of trying to smooth things out a little bit here. So I'm going to use my fingers. So now I want to try to get rid of some of that like jigsaw look and just kind of like make it a little more smoother, I guess. And I'm going to work on the nose a little bit here. And underneath the lip a little bit. Now, it is a little difficult to work on things when they're wet. So just say I wasn't recording a video and I was just painting a face, then I would, you know, stop more frequently. But for the sake of this video, it just, you know, it doesn't, I mean, it would just be too tedious to kind of do that. The video would just go on for a long time and I'd have too many parts to the video. So what I am going to do here is just going to build up the nose a little bit here. And the lips as well. So because with mixed media, you know, things are so open, you can use just about anything. I would experiment and just use like different art supplies that might appeal to you, like colored pencils, Inktense pencils, just all sorts of things, you know, collage. Because it's mixed media, like anything goes. So, you know, that's why I started off making the video as how to paint a face, but then I thought about it and I was like, you know, it's kind of calling me to use other art supplies as well. Like I think I might want to use oil pastels. So I am just building up the face here. And I think I need some red for the cheeks a little bit. And another coat of red for the dress here. And there we go. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to show you this one here, which is, you know, so this is like all completely dry, and it's at the same point where if I had to allow this to completely dry, it would be over here. So I am going to use my oil pastels here. And I'm going to start off with this cheaper brand. And I'm just going to kind of experiment here. And I'm just going to like, let me pick some, I think I'm feeling this red over here. And I'm just going to go in with my oil pastels. Like I want some lines here. I think I need some lines to kind of just bring this to life, like and maybe just in the cheeks a little bit here. And maybe for the hair, I want to like bring in maybe some brown, some blue. And a little bit of black, not a whole lot. going to bring in some of my senneliers over here. I want this red. So I'm gonna try not to get too kind of fussy here. And I really want to make like some lines here. So I think I'm gonna use this blue over here. And I'm just feeling like making some squiggly lines here for some reason. Just to kind of like give it that like sketchy kind of look to it a little bit. So I think that this is complete. I am just gonna add this one little touch over here, which is to just lighten up that part of the lip a little bit here. And I think that I would call this done. As you can see, I'm like totally obsessing, even though I think I've said I'm done quite a few times, but I'm totally obsessing about my lines here. I don't know why, but it's just feeling kind of incomplete without more lines here. I don't know what's going on, but I'm just gonna go with it. So now I feel like this is complete, and I'm gonna bring it up a little bit closer. But I hope you've enjoyed this series, and I hope that this has inspired you to, you know, create your own faces and to experiment and play and just have fun and see where this road takes you. So thank you so much for watching till the end, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.